when you look at the team and what this team has been going through over the last couple of years, especially all the stuff that Draymond Green has done, not only is it disrespectful to the team and the coaching staff, it's really disrespectful to the fans. And he has gone out there week in and week out and has gotten in trouble many different times for many different issues. And the one that really stuck out this year was Rudy Gobert. When he choked out Rudy Gobert and put him in a rear naked chokehold and then said that he wasn't trying to choke him out. I mean, to me, you would have to be oblivious to see what he has been doing on the court and how significant it's affected his team throughout these games. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Golden State is dangerous no matter when or where they land in a playoff spot. And the reason why is you have Steph Curry, and Steph Curry is dangerous. And in the league, everybody knows in the league, once it goes into the playoffs, it becomes a half-court game. And what do you do in a half-court game? You jack up threes. Who's the best three-point shooter in the NBA? Steph Curry. So this is why nobody wants to play the Warriors in the first round if they get into the playoff round. So you sit here and you wonder the position that Steve Kerr is in. You see what Steph Curry and the position he's in as the leader of this team and what they have structured this team around between what Klay Thompson is now as a player, which is not much, what Steph Curry is because he's the only damn good player on this team. And then you have Draymond Green who can't keep his hands off his own players, off the other team's players. So there's a lot of problems going on in this locker room that we did not expect to happen as quick as it has.
Yeah, and you also go back to the Jordan Poole incident last year, which started the whole questionable things in the playoffs with Steve Kerr, with Jordan Poole, and Draymond Green. It all was connecting at that point. And even though they won a playoff series last year against the Kings, you really never felt like this was the same Warriors dominance of the past either. And it was only going to come to the point where Draymond Green, who was he was disliked by the rest of the league and hated by so many fans, was always supported by his teammates. And this was the breaking point of whether his teammates would not support him anymore. And now you're seeing it with Steph Curry, who is trying to lead this team, lead this team with a lot of other youngsters.
Why would you give him an extension? Why would the organization give him a 4-year extension if you know he's breaking down, if you know he's not the same player he once was? Now, obviously, we all know what he's done on social media. We all know what he does on his podcast. We all know what he does on the court. We all know what he says off the court about certain players. He has been an absolute joke. He has been everything you don't want from a player. And he's putting the Golden State Warriors right centerfold into the NBA's problem. He's the NBA problem child. If you look at over the years, there's always been a problem child every decade, okay? And the NBA, this 10-year of a decade has been Draymond Green. It's been Draymond Green. And if you go 10 years before that, you can argue it was Zach Randolph or some of one of those guys, or before Dennis Rodman and Bill Laimbeer, one of those guys. So if you go through the league and over the last couple of years and the problems that the NBA has had, and I'm not saying it's bad to be a bad guy, because what does it do for the NBA? It does a lot for the NBA. It puts that thought that it's become like, when Draymond Green's on the court, it feels like it's a wrestling match. It's not a basketball game. It's the worldwide wrestling, fighting, it's Vince McMahon out there, trying to promote it. It's been an absolute joke. Everybody wants to know why Jordan Poole is no longer on the Warriors. Well, the reason why is because Draymond Green couldn't stand him. They were fighting at practice, they were fighting in the locker room, and they weren't getting along. So what did they have to do in the offseason? They had to trade their one good young player that they were building their team around when Steph Curry and Klay Thompson decides to part ways either with the team or retire. When Jordan Poole was good on Golden State and they gave him a $130 million extension, yep, everybody thought he was going to take over for Steph Curry when he decides to part ways, he gets traded, or he retires. Now, what Jordan Poole is now with Washington, obviously, he's not the same player he was for his first 2 seasons when he was over there filling in for Steph Curry when he was injured. He was fantastic. Jordan Poole, he earned that $130-something million contract. Mm-hmm. And when he got it, the next year, everything started to tip over. Everything started to fall apart. And what did they have to do in the offseason because of Draymond Green? Move him. And I'm going to say this about Jordan Poole. Is he a superstar player? No. But he's a guy right now on Washington. It's averaging 17 points a game, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and he's averaging field goal percentages over 41%. So he's not a bad player, but he could have been a much different player on the Golden State Warriors if Draymond Green didn't step in and be the idiot that he is.